course, failing my family, failing my sons, because most of the time they look up to you and for them there are things they can't understand. They have like this figurative thing about how a father should be, there's some reality that right now you can't even tell them for them to understand right now. But eventually just doing what is possible for me now, and something that my sons will understand that, our dad is doing the best that he can in such a situation. Being a man, for me, there are so many definitions about being a man. And growing up, I had a very different definition of being a man. Right now, I have a very, very different definition of being a man on myself. You understand? And there's another definition that I must give my sons of being a man. Because I knew that being a man, you should be this macho guy, masculine guy. You should be like the authoritative guy in the house, those things. Because that's how I grew up knowing being a man, because my dad was like that, as in everything was more, there was order, it was more combative. It's not like right now that I sit down with Ryan and then we discuss. And then Ryan tells me, but why should I do this and why should I do this? So while me and my son, we can have a conversation. With my dad, it was more of authoritative, as in whatever he says goes. You can't even question his decision. So right now it's very different. So the same way now, my sons will grow up knowing that everything in life is more about discussion. Because I entered into my relationship, into my marriage, most of my relationships, even my past relationships, I used to enter into relationship with that mentality that I'm the man. You understand? I must speak. I must say this and this should happen. You understand? It was so difficult meeting someone who they have a very different perspective of how a man should be. So I had to convert, and I think the new way is better. I want my sons to understand that sometimes as a man, you just say if you're going through, because like for me right now, I can't, as in no matter, even if I'm going through what, I can't go out there and start telling guys that, I'm suffering. No, there are things I can't, as in, that's just me. But I don't think it's good. I'm doing it because for me, it's more like it's a seed that was planted in me, that there are things I must just die with them. But I don't think it's good. That discussion is very broad and very wide. I don't know how we can discuss that in a few minutes, because I think the biggest mistake that happened to a boy child, the best thing that happened was a girl child to be empowered. But the biggest mistake was no one was telling the boy child on how to deal with an empowered girl child. You understand? That is why we are facing whatever is happening right now in society. Because as much as we were ready to empower a girl child, no one was telling a boy child, this is how it should happen. I always give an example of my younger bro. My younger bro, right now, he just finished at high school, he's out there. All the chicks that this guy is meeting, they are challenging the boy. The boy can't even, he can't be like me, like a man or something. Because for me, I remember when I was 21, 22, I already had my own home. Nowadays, this to excuse to one bedroom, you understand? They are owned by young girls. But my younger bro, while he was in school, he used to know when I finish high school, even for me, I'll go to Nairobi. In Nairobi, I'll get like a small HQ, start my own life, buy my own PVC carpet ya plastic, they buy a fridge pale kadogo and all these things, but they can't even afford it. They can't. But chicks at his age, who are 21, 22, 23 right now, they own those things. So this young man is like, but how come my brothers, it was the other way around? But for me right now, all the chicks I'm meeting, as much as, and to make it worse, you'll find that those chicks, they're not even working. But they own all these things. So this young man, the first thing atakuwa intimidated, because how can a girl tell me come to my house? That's number one. Number two, this girl is not even working, but she's paying rent. You understand? Or she's working, she's paying rent, she owns all these things. Where will I get the audacity of even telling the girl, I want to marry you? Where? Apart from that, where will I even have the audacity to tell this chick, I'm about to ask this chick, who is that calling you? You know, as we come from that background of asking a chick, who is that calling you? But as in, I don't know anything, you don't have anything that you can, any authority above this chick to tell this chick, hey, because at the end of the day, you find that you're at par. Or worse, you're below. That's how things are happening right now. So these young boys, where do they go to? They were taught. No one is telling these young boys. Nowadays, everything is changing. Because like my small bro, he just knows, he saw it from my dad. And my dad was this guy. Nimesema utoke hapo. So he knows that's how you should be as a man. That's how you should be as a man, as in you're authoritative, you're the first and the last. When you say it's over, it's done, as in nothing, no one should question you. But right now, how will you treat a lady who is even earning more than you? There must be a transition. That's the gap that is missing. That's the gap that is missing. Because nowadays, ladies challenge you even in thinking.
And when you're saying transition in what sense?
Transition in the same way there was a transition in empowering a girl child. Mm-hmm. There must be a transition empowering a young boy, I'm a boy child, on how to deal with an empowered girl child. As my brand, there are things I feel I should do. So these are the things that I'm discovering now because it's a process. I used to, and if you do your research, you'll find even the media was failing to explain what was happening when we had all these deaths. People hacking each other and all that. Mm-hmm. But this is just my own research. You understand? Mm-hmm. Through my research, that's what I've discovered. And I'm like, what can we do towards it? Because already I know the problem, but now what's the solution towards it? Because if this young man can be, the hardest thing to change in a person, I always say is culture and religion. You understand? If someone is cultured in a certain way, it's so hard to transform them and tell them, don't do this, I'm gonna do this. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you wonder, should you start talking to these people while in high school? Will they listen? Or is it a background check that something should be done from at home on how they view their dads? Because for me, like I've told you, my son, I want them to know, my sons to know that relationship right now, you need to have a discussion. Something that if you have told me like 5 years ago, I ain't guys work with me because I come from a background whereby as a man, you're very combative. As a man, you're very authoritative. As a man, you always give direction. It's not about let's come and discuss and find a solution for us to give our family direction. So that's the difference. So I'm like, I'll start from my home because I know right now they're still very young. I can instill in them a culture that they'll follow. But how about, because I was thinking, should I do mentorship in high schools? Should I go and discuss these things in high schools? Am I in schools? But I'm like, how can you change that person who is in Asian Kusi High School right now, and at home, his dad akona 7 wives. They still live in that traditional way. But you want to tell this boy is called Wepoholu. You want to tell Wepoholu that, you know, Wepoholu, in the next 10 years, things will be changed on how you're treating the ladies and how you're speaking to the ladies. You know, it's very hard to tell them now for them to see. But you see, for me, I've come a long way to understand. Because even for me, it was effective. I can assure you some of my relationships I lost because a chick maybe wanted us to reason. And I'm like, why should we reason together? How? For what purpose? Where we go? How? I'm a man. I should say something. And maybe it was just an argument of who is right and who is wrong. But you're like, how are you arguing with me on who is right and who is wrong? I'm a man. I should be always right. All of us, we are on a level, we are at par right now. Mm-hmm. These young men should understand that everything comes to, you need to have a discussion on to understand why is this person doing this. It's not always jumping to conclusion because you relate something from a story you heard somewhere. When me and my wife, we argue on something, I always ask myself, if I was in the same situation, what would I have done? Before I start asking her the same questions. Because there are situations in this world, a situation can find you to a level whereby you can't even huwezi jitoa. Someone else maybe akona grace ya kujitoa. So as the young people should understand, I always tell my small bro, you need to understand that you need to work hard, number one. Number two, the women of today, they're not like the same women that us tunapata. Nyinyi mtapata tunyuko very different, wako very empowered. Nowadays, it's really hard even hata kuenjoy them. It's really hard. Mwenye amesoma kuliko. Mwenye right now they can make their own decisions without even asking anyone else. They cannot depend on you for all the solutions. Like right now, I find my wife amefanya kitu without even asking me, but I understand the situation was something must be done at that moment. So I have to calm down and understand as a man. Sometimes you just listen and understand, and here she had to do this. Those are things that at home no one told me. I'm learning as I go.